Welcome to another episode of Financial Strategies for Seniors. I'm Peter Janowski from the Ryan and Janowski Financial Strategies Group. Today, I have a very special guest that will have very little to do with investing and financial strategies. However, I'm sure we're going to find it fascinating, interesting, and even a little moving. Lonnie, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
I have Lonnie Sherman with me, and I am not going to steal any thunder. I am going to ask him to introduce himself, where he's from, his background, and what he's doing now.
Well, hi, my name is Lonnie Sherman. I'm the founder and president of General Needs. It's a small, all-volunteer, and I'll say that again, all-volunteer nonprofit supporting homeless veterans and veterans in need, primarily Long Island, but we're actually spreading to the tri-state area at this point and supporting vets.
Okay, quick question. That's what you're doing now. Before this, in your real life, what were you doing?
I did what you do.
You do what I do.
I'm a financial person.
Oh, I think you say, you're on TV like me.
Started in 1984, knocking on doors for John Hancock at 22 years old.
Okay.
And talking about insurance, and had positions in the city, ran firms in Park Avenue, and really looked for something fulfilling in my life. And
you found it?
Found it.
Okay,
Yeah.
So the name of the organization is General Needs. Where does that name come from?
Well, I was being called the Underwear Man for about 5 years before we came up with General Needs.
Captain Underwear.
Captain, everything with underwear. Because when I found out when I started this organization in 2008 that veterans needed underwear, socks, and T-shirts, a thing that all of us don't donate. We donate our old suits and coats.
So what year did you found?
2008, ultimately.
2008,
We're in a
okay.
501c3 until about 7 years ago, though.
Okay.
But I would buy underwear, socks, and T-shirts with my financial friends and shake them down. And they would say, hey, Underwear Man, when you coming back with some more underwear? So we had to come up with something that kind of fit what we do and try to not make it political or religious. And
Right.
General Needs just seem to fit.
Right.
What do you need? Socks.
You found the need and you filled it. So
Yeah.
One quick question to go circle back a little bit right now is a lot of people that we know in our business, friends, relatives, a lot of people get involved with charitable organizations. What drove you? What was the spark? Specifically this. How'd you find this?
I always felt that homelessness would be something I wanted to help with.
Okay.
From watching there was a comedy series back. It was Robin Williams and Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah,
and
I remember
they did
that.
Comic Relief.
Yes.
Actually, I just met the producer of that show a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I looked at my wife and we looked at each other. We said, we're going to do something along that line. But I always got involved with giving back. I always got involved with different charities, great charities, and found that there was a need in this world of homeless veteranness, which is crazy. How does that word go together? How do you put homeless and veterans in the same sentence?
Yeah.
And these men and women did so much for this country. How does that fit together?
Well, let's talk about that. How does that happen?
You know what? It's a big issue. Most of the homeless veterans that we see suffer traumatic brain injury from things that they experience, PTSD, mental illness, or just hard times. PTSD is a real issue. It's very, very painful. Mental illness is a real
I happen to think that there's a big stigma in this country with mental illness.
Right.
Veterans and beyond.
I'm going to get probably some pushback on this one, but typically the higher up in the veteran systems, if a veteran has an issue with mental illness or they get hurt, they say rub some dirt on it and get back out there and fight. Well, you can't rub some dirt on this. It's more involved with that, and they need a lot more care.
Right.
And they'll need care forever. This word that we use, PTSD, is been around for 2,000 years. In Roman times, they called it homesickness. Not that they're homesick like your kids going to school, but when they came home, back to their families, the vets were sick. And that was the first phrase of homesickness. Wow. And through the years, it was shell shock. And it's always been something that you see something in war that we should never have to see. We shouldn't be able to assimilate that into our life in the future. Some of us do a great job with it. There are vets that are incredible, and they've never had an issue with it in their life. But then there are some, and it's thousands of some. There's somewhere around 50,000 homeless vets in this country. If we look at our little tri-state area and we drew a circle, we probably have upwards to 4,000 to 5,000 homeless veterans. And that's a vet either living in a shelter, couch surfing as a female veteran might do to go from one friend's house to another, which brings up other issues, or just living on a bench. And I don't kind of agree with all the politicians on what the definitions are, because they vary. My definition of homelessness is if you don't have your own refrigerator and you can't go to your own fridge. Because I've been in shelters that the refrigerator is locked.
Right.
And you can only get in there from 12 to 1 or from 5 to 6.
I agree with you. The definition of homeless is not someone living on a street. I get it. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're seeing these men and women, and it's probably 95% men and 5% women. And we're getting to become friendly with them and know their issues and show them that we care. One thing that we do, again, it's not political, it's not religious, and I stress that all the time. Every one of my volunteers, myself and my wife and our friends and family and everybody that works with general needs, we want to help the vet. It's not that we're doing something, okay, our corporation required us to do X amount of service. It's an expression that you have when you're actually meeting that vet. I think we get more out of it than the vet does, because we're just so happy to be there and support them and tell them they're, you're my hero, and something we say on a regular basis.
I know at the end of this we're going to give out all the contact information, but I want to do it now as well. I want this to be out there. What's the best way to contact you?
Well, generalneeds.org is our website. We're General Needs LTD on Facebook. We can follow us through that way.
Generalneeds.org. And on Facebook
it's General Needs LTD.
LTD, like limited.
Right, you can friend us, right? And phone number is 631-266-1672. which will go directly to a voicemail kind of system for several of us at General Needs. We are all volunteers and we all have jobs. We try to get back to people as quickly as possible. It's been a blessing that we've been able to do this and come up with some of the systems that we have.
Right. So you started off with socks and underwear.
Right.
Where are we now?
Well, it started off with socks and underwear, and I got a call about 7 years ago, that, hey, Lonnie, I know you're coming this Friday night, and we're going to hand the vets out some socks this week and some underwear and some T-shirts. But they're walking around with flip-flops, and it was November 17th or something like that, and it's cold. So we brought up 50 pair of boots to a shelter at Northport, and the 50 pair of boots that we brought to veterans at Northport delivered 5 jobs to the vets working there, because they had a pair of warm, waterproof boots. They were able to get a job. This year, we did 1,300 plus pair of boots.
New, used,
brand new. Everything we do is new.
So you don't take.
There's nothing used.
Okay.
I get a call every day. I have some getting rid of some clothes. Can you take it? We take nothing. It's a dignity factor. We're not. I grew up in a family of 3 boys. I got the hand-me-downs, and you felt different getting the hand-me-down coat than something new. So if this man or this woman's in a shelter, doesn't it make a difference if we're handing them a brand new coat? Or obviously underwear has to be brand new, so that's a no question about that.
Yeah.
I have that argument pretty much weekly with somebody. I have some used stuff, I want to give it to you. No, go find somebody else.
Right.
These men and women that fought for our country deserve something brand new.
Actually, it leads me a question. There was a lot of organizations that do what you do, but I think you stand alone for some different reasons.
Well, we stand alone because we're volunteer. We stand alone that we do it as all brand new. And one of the brand new decisions we made early on is we set up a table at a shelter, and we had some new, whatever, it might have been the underwear, socks, and T-shirts. We set up a beautiful table. Everything was sized, kind of like in a department store. And another organization came in, and great intentions. I mean, great people. But everybody cleaned out their closet, and they threw everything on a table across away from our table, and said, okay, guys, you can have what you want.
Right.
They walked through both of us. They walked back to their rooms that day with their heads down. They said, is this what we're worth? We made a decision right then and there. We'll do everything is folded. Everything's put in duffels. Every Christmas presents are wrapped. We try on brand new coats. Yeah. That's kind of the set aside from us and everybody else, I think.
Right. That is tremendous. So you're local. Obviously, you talked about working in Northport and stuff, but do you go outside New York State?
We do outside New York State. We work with shelters in New Jersey. We had an amazing project we did this year called the 1342 project, which was the boots. And the reason we did 1342 is we handed out about 1,342 pair of boots in November and December. That number was significant because that's the amount of vet suicide in the United States for those 2 months. 1,342 vets will take their own lives. So we started in Maine on November 2nd, and we handed out boots in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. Met some amazing people along the way. One woman who was taking care of 20 vets in a shelter in Vermont, and 10 vets were living in the woods in Vermont. that were homeless. And
That's amazing.
It's negative 3,000 degrees in Vermont. And
Yeah.
these guys are heroes. They're able to do that. But she was amazing. The one thing that I heard, and vets came up to me, and I explained it over a couple seconds with them, why we're here, and thank you, you're my hero. Come up, grab your boots. And they kept coming up to me as I shake their hands. They said, I tried, and I failed.
Yeah.
I kept hearing that over and over again from a vet. I tried, and I failed.
Yeah.
My response to them is, I'm really happy you, excuse the expression, suck at something, because we're able to talk now. About 5 attempts at suicide happens to every 1 successful suicide in this country. So we've given some of these people some hope. And it's really simple things. I might jump into a story if that's okay.
No, please. This is,
we're
this
talking
is
about
your
simple.
show.
I'm at a shelter in Eastern Long Island. And there was one vet with his head down, and we're talking about, we're coming back in 2 weeks with coats, let us know your size. We're gonna have a couple choices for you. He said, well, I don't need a coat. I've left my family. Can you give a coat for my wife? I'm like, what do you mean you don't need a coat? He said, I won't need a coat this year. So he was at that point.
Right.
He was right there. And I kind of made the social workers that were there aware, hey, maybe you need to follow up here. And a couple of days after I was there, one of our volunteers went back from a great organization, and they had a fundraiser. And at the fundraiser, they had a sheet cake. And he knocked on the door at 7 or 8 o'clock at night in November. And he says, hey, it's me. I got a sheet cake for you. Well, that vet opened the door. He was going to open the door of the shelter. And he actually said, somebody does care. You guys actually came back. He actually checked himself in the next day to a comprehensive PTSD program at the VA.
That's tremendous.
Saved his life.
It's a great story.
Sheet cake. Few months after that, we're at a shelter and we're serving dinner. It's Christmas time, and one vet wasn't able to eat. He had work done on his teeth.
Right.
And again, a volunteer went out and got mashed potatoes.
Right.
He got some dinner.
It's true caring.
It's simple. Yeah. It's not really hard stuff. A simple story is a vet I got to know very well. One time again, hey, Bob, whatever his name was, I'm going to make up a name now. What's the matter? He said, I don't have my teeth in. I can't have dinner. Mm-hmm. I said, why not? He said, I ran out of Polygrip.
Okay. Yeah.
So for $1.42, we went to the CVS up the block, gave him a tube of Polygrip, put his teeth in, and he had dinner. So it's not that we have to do crazy things and we have to spend $10 million to invest in a program to help somebody get a job. Well, I handed out 50 pair of boots, which served one purpose, and that got 5 jobs for vets.
Yes. So I'm going to be all over the place.
Yeah,
for
that's
these
fine.
questions
I'm sorry,
because,
I'm going too much.
No,
I
think this is perfect. Just keep going. I want people to learn about not just what you do and how you do it, but why you do it. Mm-hmm. The why is obviously the most important part. So this is changing gears for a second. What's the average age of these vets?
All ages.
All ages.
When we started,
Okay.
my wife and I would meet them a lot. They were back from Iraq or Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
And they were just, we met one really good-looking young man. He came back home. He was very quiet, sitting in a corner. My wife went to speak to him. So I came back home. I fought for the country. And my mom said, I can't come home anymore. She has a new boyfriend, and I don't have any place to live.
My gosh.
So he ended up in a shelter.
Yeah.
My wife wanted to take him home. I said, you can't. It's going to become a problem. We take everybody home.
Yeah.
We had dinner at Ohika Castle with a homeless World War II vet a couple years ago that just didn't have we talked earlier about some financial stuff, didn't have the right planning done, became homeless as a World War II vet. The most touching part of that dinner for us was every other vet that would range from, again, 25 to 70, 75 years old. They all took care of him. What do you want to dinner? We'll go get you. We'll go to the buffet for you.
That's beautiful.
It was really very touching to see. So all ages. Right now, we're seeing more women than ever. Mm-hmm. 1 out of 3 women that join the military, 3 women go together, they sign up, whatever branch, 1 out of 3 women will be violently sexually assaulted in the military.
I don't know what to say to that. I have no words for that.
So they come back and they have some issues. And then what happens is, we talked earlier about maybe they'll couch serve, they'll stay with a friend's house, and the friend might have a boyfriend. Well, there's some
Yeah.
issues that happen there as well.
Yeah. So
Keeping that clean.
right. I understand. It's just I mean,
It's
I could obviously
incredible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you probably do, go off on a tangent and talk about that alone. But so let's go back to general needs a little bit, and we pretty much understand the why, and what about the how? So if you're not delivering used materials, you obviously just need to collect money to buy it.
Well, early on, I'm going to steal the cup here for a second.
Yeah.
I said I would be the person holding out the cup.
Okay.
Why should a homeless veteran have to hold out the cup and ask for $1? Now I have certain skill sets because I was in the financial world, and I learned how to make calls to ask money to fill the cup so we can go out and get this stuff.
Fundraising.
So fundraising's key.
Right.
We do collections. We have collection boxes where people bring brand new underwear, socks, and T-shirts. The Y has done great stuff for us. We had a Girl Scout. She did a gold project for us and collected housewares for 10 vets getting apartments, which one of the other programs we started doing. So you said, where do we go? Vets are leaving shelters. You go through different levels of shelters. It might start as an emergency shelter. Then you can go to a transitional shelter and stay a certain amount of time. The government does have a program where they can help you get an apartment at an extremely reduced rate. And they're clean, they're nice, they're new. And they might only cost $600-700 a month for a nice 1 or 2 bedroom apartment out here in the island. But there's nothing in it. So we deliver the bed,
Right.
the bedding, the toaster oven, the toaster, the dishes, the pots and pans. We're still struggling to get the funding because we'd like to bring the kitchen table, like we're sitting in front of, and a couple chairs and maybe a small couch and a nightstand. We will do that within the next year. It's our goal. But we furnished, I believe, last year 54 of those.
That's a really
54
big
vets
number.
got an
That's a really big cost. So to interrupt for a second, do you partner up with other organizations to get this done, and how does that work?
Again, so we're here talking about business.
Yeah.
The 501c3 world, I never realized this in my life, is a business. Because we're all fighting for the same dollar. There's
Competition.
corporate dollars out
Sure.
there. There's grants out there from governments. We don't really get very many of those. But
Right.
we go to a corporation and say, hey, support us. And they'll write a check. They'll do something. They'll go through a process. Banks and financial institutions, and they've been tremendous to us.
That's vertical. But what about sideways? Would you ever team up with another? Like I'm very familiar with the Interfaith Nutrition Network.
We end up helping those groups more than they help us.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I know they started out, it's a great story, they started out like a little soup kitchen, and they went to really, housing and all sorts of things, and it sounds like that's what General Needs is doing.
Right,
now, in a
we're
way.
supporting the people. So the groups like the Interfaith Network and Beacon House organizations and United Way and Long Island Carers, we support Long Island Carers. Probably 20% of our budget goes to Long Island Carers, because Long Island Carers has a program called Vets Tuesday.
Okay.
And any vet can come into one of the Long Island Cares locations anywhere in the island. There's 5 of them. And on Tuesday, they can get food. But if a vet is in need of food, don't you think he's in need of socks? Don't you think he's in need of underwear? So we bring socks, underwear, boots, coats, sneakers. We kind of see Long Island Cares locations on a regular basis. We've been very luckily through a great organization, Townwide Fund of Huntington, be able to support the location in Huntington. We need other vertical organizations to help us support places. There's Lindenhurst, there's Freeport, there's West Hampton, other Long Island Cares locations.
You're almost ubiquitous with this. You went from socks and underwear to being incredibly holistic in helping
We're trying
all phases. Yeah, that's tremendous.
You know what? It's an amazing group of people, and it's not me. It's not me. It's not me. It's the people we get involved with.
It's not you.
It's not. Okay. It's the people that want to make a difference in these men's lives.
And people meaning
The volunteers we have, the
that are under your
corporations,
umbrella.
they're kind of under our umbrella, but
Okay.
they reach out to us. This young girl from the Girl Scouts collected 10 toaster ovens, 10 pots and pan sets, 10 this. She came with baskets. Her dad and mom came with
That's
a pickup
incredible.
truck filled up.
Yeah.
They met us at our storage facility, which is in Westies in East Northport, which has been a great supporter of ours. My wife and I cried. She cried. She came, Lonnie, because somebody normally comes down with 3 cups. So you're not going to believe what this young lady did. And these men and women, every charity counts. Charities supporting families with cancer and the families with cancer and heart disease. And we just had a surplus of a whole lot of Bombas compression socks that we could not use. And we gave everything out to to the veterans we work with. We were able to get some surplus, and it wasn't part of our normal process.
Yeah.
Compression socks out to the people fighting in the Ukraine.
Okay, so
know.
so I'm trying to visualize this now. You have all these volunteers, but no one's getting paid. It's all
Nobody gets
volunteer
paid.
work.
All
Okay.
volunteer.
So it's safe to say that you're monetarily, fiscally efficient. I would like.
We try to be. We have some expenses. We have like the web. Actually, just got the renewal notice for the domain name. Okay, what are we going to pay? 1 year or 3 years?
Be careful of that, because I get those all the time, and there's
This
a
one's
scam.
real. Yeah, most of them is a scam. And
most of them is a
then they
scam.
tell you need to renew your license in somewhere like
Yeah.
strange. No, but this one's real. I checked
So you have
it out.
you have very low costs, so you're
Right.
probably one of the
We
more efficient
Pay for somebody
charities.
to help us with a website. We're thinking of paying for somebody to help us with social media because we have no clue.
Neither do I.
We have great
I know
volunteers.
how that works. Yeah.
So I'm pretty tough on our volunteers and our board members, but when social media, it's really hard to do. How do I be, you're going to be the volunteer for me now. Next Tuesday, you're my social media guy. You're terrible. How do I yell at you? But if I'm paying you, or find a company that can do it, and they want to charge me $1,000, and I talk them down to $200, I can then yell at them if they're not doing a good job.
Well, how old was the Girl Scout that helped you?
She wasn't ready to do that. That
No,
was
so not old enough for social media.
No.
You need someone in high school to do social media.
Yeah, we
stuff,
need
right?
college actually to get
Yeah.
into some certain levels to
Yeah.
do that. But
Yeah.
I think so.
So
we
if
had a
anyone's
board meeting.
watching and they want to volunteer their work for social media,
We need help with websites and social media because I'm
Okay.
an old guy. I still have an AOL email personally. Okay.
if you want to advertise that, great.
No, but it's just something I haven't changed because I just don't know how to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But social media is huge.
It is. It's
and
It's
we-
everything now.
Do you want to know I thank you very much for allowing us to be here today, Peter, because nobody knows who we are and we do so much.
Yeah.
Every one of these organizations, Long Island Carers calls us, Beacon House calls us. I just met with the county executive for Nassau County, Bruce Blakeman. We're going to be doing what's called a stand down in June in Freeport. And any vet in need can come into the stand down and find out how to get vet resources, where they can get, how they can lower their electric bill. Or
Where
maybe
in Freeport is this?
It's at the Freeport Armory. I can get some information to you for that in the future.
Freeport Armory in
On June 10th.
June 10th. What day of the week is that?
I think it's a Friday.
Okay. All right.
So-
And stand down meaning what's a stand,
Stand down was a phrase that started after World War II. After you came back from World War II, you went into these big conference rooms and you found out, where to get the benefits you needed, where to go back to school,
okay.
and you'd get a
Okay.
haircut and a few other things.
Okay.
So they were, as everything else, things were falling apart, especially during COVID. So we said, I know how to get people to go to stand downs. We hand out brand new boots. We hand out brand new coats. So last November, we did one the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. We handed out over 375 brand new coats and 375 pair of brand new boots.
Yeah.
I've called companies like Home Depot and Covanta and everybody else, and they join us. They'll hand out cleaning supplies. So vet will come in, find out how to maybe get some COVID testing done or shots, or how to find out how to go back to school and find out how to take advantage of some of the GI bills.
Tremendous resource. It's a day of resources.
We're the
Right.
teaser.
Right.
Come on in. You're going to need help, but you're not going to come in unless we're giving you some free boots.
Right.
So we got
that
great
makes sense,
boots.
though. Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
product. Rothko has been a supplier of ours and supporter of us like crazy.
Okay.
So what we hand out, again, brand new.
Right. So
One of my touching moments where we're doing a stand down before now they're outdoors. You drive up.
Okay.
And previously they were in the armory, in the building. And a man comes up in a wheelchair. He was 96 years old. He was a World War II vet, and he had no coat.
Wow.
Somebody was wheeling
My
him.
gosh.
He was wheeling him. We sat there with him, and we helped him up, and we tried on 2 or 3 coats to it fit him, and other items we got him. And you know what? Small moments like that, it's what it's about. A vet drove in November, and his daughter drove him in an old Crown Victoria. And she's in the front, he's in the back. And he said, come to the back. And I handed him some sneakers, and I gave him a World War II hat. We have some great caps that we give out. He takes out pictures of him on a carrier
Wow.
in World War II. This was me.
Wow.
They were dropping bombs on me. And he's needed help. So we visited him 3 to 4 times and brought him sweatpants and Velcro sneakers so he can put sneakers on and move around.
It really looks like you're doing a fantastic job, and if I'm saying this properly, like on from the top down. Like it seems like you're doing a great job, but with corporations getting the word out, putting things to
Not
organizing.
enough. We need to do more.
There's never enough. but I think what you need help with, and I agree with you, is maybe the social media presence and where everything is these days to hit generations lower, people who are on social media who are not going to, pay for TV, that kind of. I understand what you're saying.
So
you got to get out there.
Again,
the
it's
Facebook
the
page
things that we're not the heavy lifters. So you mentioned the Inn. We'll talk about
Right.
Beacon House and other organizations that house homeless people.
You're connecting things.
We're the, hey, you know what? We know you don't have the money to have the dinner. So during COVID, we always used to go out monthly and do our distributions. We didn't know what to do. We sent puzzle books out in the beginning of COVID. And you remember how everybody was scrabbling? We're getting games, we're getting puzzles.
Yeah.
They ran out of them within the first 2 weeks of the lockdown. So we started calling all these restaurants that have been tremendous supporters of ours and said, how do we put together a meal, complete meal, individually wrapped, because they weren't able to eat in a common area anymore, that they can take back to their rooms, and how do we put together a meal for $10? Not only, we don't want a hero, we want chicken, we want a vegetable, we want a salad, we want something complete.
Right.
We
Right.
delivered about 5,000 meals during the beginning of COVID, and to support some major organizations. And imagine, how we all felt when we were home in the very beginning of COVID. We didn't know what to do, and you didn't bring the mail in. So imagine being in a shelter with 30, 40 other people, if you're in good shape, how we were feeling.
Yeah.
That meal weekly gave somebody a little bit of comfort, saying we really care.
It's a
and did
lifeline.
something special.
It's like a lifeline.
We brought
It's a-
bento boxes from great Japanese restaurants.
When you say we brought it, we did 5,000 meals. Did you and your volunteers actually go out, pick them up, deliver them physically?
Some of them, and some of the restaurants delivered directly themselves.
So you just put it. So you're doing everything. You're connecting. You're putting it together. You're doing the hands-on.
Kept
A little
the
bit of
restaurants
everything.
working, because the restaurants weren't having
Right.
anybody
That's a great
in.
point. Sure.
So it doesn't that they were making a lot of people, but they were at least able to hire and pay for their chef or cooks out there to put together a small meal.
Right.
And these meals that they got came from restaurants that would normally charge $50 for the same meal. We're bringing out now for $10.
You know what? I don't have enough time to ask all the questions that I have.
And I'm tired. Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're not rambling. This is terrific. But I think I want to touch on a couple of points here, because if this helps you in any extent, then it was worth every minute today and beyond. Some people are skeptical of organizations that collect money. You say you're all volunteers.
Right.
So, and I know you could just read, everything's transparent these days.
Online, right.
You could Google and see what percentage of what dollar goes to organizations. I'm not naming anything right now, but it's easy. You can actually vet an organization before you go do it. And some people, when they're planning stages, as you know, in their planning will leave money or to organizations versus people.
Right.
So what percentage? What dollar?
Well, we
Give me
give
a
about
number.
90% back.
Okay.
Very conservative, probably higher, because we count things the way we think they should be counted.
Okay.
Not the way we want to count it to make it look good. It's really tough. It's not easy to check all organizations, because if you're a small organization and some of those sites that vet you, that you can go review us on, we got to pay money for them to vet us. But Suffolk County is the only county in the country that vets veteran organizations to make sure where the money's going, specifically what location, what you're doing. It takes us days to put this project together. We do it every single year. We have to recertify yearly. And they kind of see exactly where we're going. And we have one of their only, there's only a couple handfuls of organizations that are approved as a veteran organization to even ask for money in Long Island, and we're one of them.
Kudos. You should be very proud of that. We are literally out of time right now. Do me a favor, give out your contact information one more
It's
time.
Lonnie Sherman. The phone number is 631-266-1672. Our email is info@generalneeds.org. Or simply our website is generalneeds.org. You'll see us on there. You'll see me smiling and handing out a pair of boots somewhere. And you can easily reach us through that.
And hopefully soon you'll be on Facebook. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Peter Janowski from the Ryan and Janowski Financial Strategies Group. I can be reached at 516-719-6396. And I'm going to try and close this properly by saying, may the hand of a friend always be near with help if you need it or not. Thanks again. That was terrific.
Thank you, sir.